Hello everyone and welcome back to the Who Is series, where I deep dive into Mortal Kombat and fighting games characters. Before we get into the character, I just want to say if you all could please go hit that subscribe button. I'm so close to hitting 1,000 subs, so subscribe and join the cat club. Anyways, today we have the homesick vampire warrior, Nitara.
Nitara and her unstoppable army easily conquered the realms.
To begin, we must talk about one of the many realms created when the One Being was destroyed by the Elder Gods. This realm is Veternus, a very mysterious realm filled with darkness, and home of the powerful and ancient vampire race. This race is specific to Mortal Kombat and is very different to traditional vampires as we know it. Instead of being infected by another vampire, or cursed, they instead are their own race of people, who instead just must drink blood for energy to survive. Veternus is one of the most mysterious realms as we know very little of it. The little we do know is that it was a large and thriving realm. With all these positives aside, we do know that this realm was cursed, towards the beginning of its creation, by a blade known only as the Datusha. The issue with the blade is that it is almost sentient, driven by bloodlust. This in turn gives the wielders of the blade a false sense of good by murdering others. It was all going well until it fell into the hands of a vampire named Kahil Grigesh, who became influenced by the blade and slaughtered many of his own kind. After some time, he was able to break the influence the blade had on him. In seeing what he's done, in order to make amends for the deaths he caused, and prevent others from using it, he traveled to the Netherrealm and stabbed himself, dying there, and trapping the sword there as well. This event lived on in the fears of the vampires as one of the most horrific events of their history. This peace after this was very short-lived. After some time, the realm would be launched into chaos, as they were forced to fight Outworld, and were eventually conquered by Shao Kahn. In this process, the vampire realm was merged with Outworld, and essentially destroyed in the process. We're not sure how many vampires survived this whole ordeal. The only vampire that we know of is Nitara. In the aftermath of this fight, Outworld had gained another realm merged with itself. Nitara lost with no home and forced to live among her conquerors. She understandably would not stop at finding a way to free her home. Now, during this search, many other things were occurring as we don't actually see Nitara until later in the series, which means we are unsure if she was forced to participate in Shao Kahn's forces. We can assume, though, she most likely was. Using other Mortal Kombat material, the Mortal Kombat 2021 movie does have Nitara fighting for Shang Tsung, and hence Shao Kahn. This, of course, isn't canon whatsoever to the original story, but what's to say Shao wouldn't have done it originally? This aside, Nitara eventually learned of a magical orb that remains in Outworld, an orb capable of freeing her realm from the merger. While this is good news, Nitara realized that the orb is just out of her reach, as it is submerged in lava, and, if Shao Kahn found out, she would be killed on the spot. So, for now, Nitara was patient and used this time to think of a plan to eventually obtain the orb and free her people. Now, we have finally reached Nitara's game debut, Mortal Kombat Deadly Alliance, in which many important events occur, including the death of Shao Kahn by the Deadly Alliance. During this time of uncertainty, many would fight to take the Khan's place. Nitara, however, had no interest in the throne, and instead took the opportunity to find the orb. Once she learned that the Dragon Egg Lava Shrine held the orb, she would search for other combatants who would be able to retrieve it, and be tricked to do her bidding. Fortunately for her, she found Reptile, who was lost without a leader. One thing to know about Tatarans: they are beings who desire to serve someone in order to give themselves meaning. So, Nitara would approach Reptile, deceiving him by stating that she was wanting to revive his race, and gave him an ancient relic for the Saurians, the Kairahashi blade. Reptile, falling for this, took the sword and swore allegiance to Nitara, with her ulterior motives unknown to him. Alongside Reptile, she knew she needed someone that was able to physically retrieve the orb in the lava. Luckily for her, she found what she was looking for: Cyrax. Hoping the strong cyborg could withstand the terrain, Nitara then ordered Reptile to attack him, and specifically damage his arm panel, what he used to teleport between realms, which he did, but was frightened away by Cyrax's attacks. Later, Nitara would introduce herself to the cyborg. She offered that if Cyrax retrieved this orb, she could send him back to Earthrealm. And she wasn't lying. Unknown to Cyrax, Nitara carried certain gemstones around her neck, which allowed her people to traverse the realms, which they had been doing for ages. She even visited Earthrealm regularly for blood. Cyrax, of course, having no other options, accepted, and they traveled across Outworld together towards the orb's location, Onaga's incubation chamber. As they arrived, both parties held up their end of the deal. Nitara obtained the orb and sent Cyrax back to Earthrealm. Now with the orb in hand, she had succeeded. She then smashed it into pieces, causing her realm to finally separate from Outworld. This whole process did knock her unconscious, however, but when she awoke, she was finally home. She then put it on herself to help protect the realm's fragile stability. Speaking of fragile stability, we're now on to Mortal Kombat Armageddon. During this time, mass genocides of her people began to occur again, and of course, the wounds on their bodies resemble a magical crisp blade, the Datusha. Nitara is then sent by her people's elders to a crater in Edenia, in order to find a prophesied force of great power that could destroy the blade. While traveling, she came upon the demon Ashra, which if you want to know more about her, click the link in the description, I have another video on her. Ashra, currently possessing the blade, believes she was purifying her soul by slaughtering vampires. To protect the rest of her race, Nitara defeated Ashra, but wasn't able to finish her before she escaped. Continuing on her journey, Nitara planned to lure her attacker to the Edenian weapon, where it may be used against her. Sadly, nothing comes of this, as Nitara is then seen fighting on the forces of darkness in the final battle of Armageddon. She is seen fighting Smoke, and just like everyone else, she dies there. One thing I'd like to add in before we finish up Nitara is that in her Armageddon ending, which is not canon, I mind you, she does become a blood god after defeating Blaze, and, beginning with Shao Kahn, she mutates all the combatants into her vampire slaves. Weirdly, she decides to conquer the realms in this ending, which is very conflicting with her original alignment, essentially. It lists her as a good person, but in most cases she's neutral, as she mainly just wants to help her realm, which makes it weird when she wants to conquer realms, as that's what happened to her. I feel this ending is very poorly written, but wanted to mention it either way. She then is never directly seen again, ignoring movies, of course. She is mentioned in MK11 in a pre-fight dialogue between Aaron Black and Scarlet. In Mortal Kombat 11, where Aaron states that he previously had a relationship with Nitara before beginning his relationship with Scarlet. Scarlet, in turn, jokes that Aaron clearly has a type, a reference to the fact that both Nitara and Scarlet have blood-related powers. I also would like to mention that she did appear in several movies, actually. The Mortal Kombat 2021 movie, and the also animated Scorpion's Revenge movie. Both of those actually have Nitara in it. In the Scorpion's Revenge, it's a cameo. In Mortal Kombat 2021, it's a tragedy, because just watch it. Either way, let's move on. MK11 also has several items named after Nitara's home realm, as you can see on screen here. So, Nitara is rumored to be coming to Mortal Kombat 1's roster, which, if true, I will make an updated version of this video. And I personally will be very happy, as Nitara is one of my favorite characters in the series. Either way, if you all enjoyed, please drop a like and consider subscribing. I also want to run by you all. If you've made it this far in the video, I imagine you're interested in the future of the channel. I just want to ask, would you all maybe be interested in a what if sort of series, almost like Marvel's What If? Basically, what if Shao Kahn won, or what if Kronika succeeded? That sort of thing, where it poses a hypothetical and we try to answer it. I think that'd be a very fun thing to write and a very interesting topic. If you all would like that, please tell me in the comments below. Anyways, thanks for watching, and please check out my other entries in the Who Is series. Thanks, and be good people. During this time of uncertainty, many would fight to take the Khan's place. Katara? What? Who's Katara? Either way, if you all enjoyed, please drop a like and consider scribing. What the crap? You could write it down to describe. I just want to point out in the bloopers, because this is a random thing I added in second. Maybe you guys will think it's funny, but Aaron Black and Scarlet, first of all, that's like, okay, that's kind of normal enough, right? But Aaron Black and Nitara, I wonder what that baby would look like. That's got to be something interesting. Either way, I wonder how that conversation first started.